Can I invite Russell? Russell Shields is effectively in charge and the instigator of Second Bite, which is an organisation really passionate about taking food that otherwise would have been wasted and putting it into the hands of people that probably need it more than we do. So, Russell, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, I'm very fortunate. I get to work for a wonderful organisation. See the logo up on the wall there, called Second Bite. We're a not-for-profit organisation. And we collect surplus food, fresh food that would otherwise go to landfill, and we redistribute that food to agencies and community groups that provide community food programs for people who are doing it tough or people who don't have access to food. Last year, and there's a great photo that normally goes up of this bulldozer just bulldozing all of this land, all of this food into landfill. And last year as a country was about 3 million tonnes, or the equivalent of $5 billion worth of food that ended up in this landfill because of the way we are as a society. And if that's not abhorrent, if there's not something wrong with that, well then I don't know what is. And even more so when you hear Chris just so wonderfully, I've heard Chris speak a few times, I've been fortunate enough to, but every time it just gets better. And when you talk about the love and the care and the devotion that you have to your own little garden, and then you think of a farmer at that level and all that work that they put into it and all the heart and the care, and it just ends up in the bin. And all of the nutrients and the goodness and the love ends up in the bin. It just does not make sense. So we're throwing out $5 billion worth of food. Now at the same time, we have hunger. We have a problem where there's 1 million children going to school every morning without breakfast or going to bed hungry. There's over 300,000 families just within Victoria alone that at some stage within 12 months were unable to provide food for themselves or their family. That is a pretty high statistic when you consider the richness and the abundance of life that we have here as a society. So Second Bite simply sees one problem that can serve as a solution to the other. We have high levels of food waste, of which so much of that food is still fit for human consumption, and we have people who are going without. Last year, as an organisation, we collected and redistributed over 700 tonnes of surplus food. When you think of a tonne of food, it's hard to sort of conceptualise, but think of about an ambulance or a postie vehicle, absolutely full is about a tonne of food. So that's all of that fresh food that would normally have just gone to landfill. 80% of the food that we moved was fresh fruit and vegetables, meats and dairies. So it's high quality, high nutrition food, highly nutritious food. Where does it come from? What is surplus food? So again, we live in this society that demands perfection. We demand the apples that are pink ladies are pink enough. And the 32 bins of apples we picked up about 8 weeks ago were not pink enough. We demand that the bananas bend the right way. If we don't want a straight banana in the shops. So we have this forced waste. Now, we can blame industry, and we certainly don't mind bashing the retailers and industry for I guess the processes of purchasing and distributing food, but it's the consumers that drive so much of this. We, with our wallets and what we choose to buy and the way we choose to buy it, forces this waste. That's the beauty of these box schemes and the stuff that Chris is talking about, where food's coming straight from the farmer to your doorstep. It's going to be a little bit wonky. It's going to have a little bit of soil on it. Might even have a few little bugs on it. Well, isn't that great? So as consumers, we're demanding this high quality produce, which leads to waste. What Second Bite does is collects this surplus, and the stuff we're redistributing to community groups is fresher than what's on the shelves because it's being knocked back by the distributors. They know at their doors they're not going to be able to pass it on to the shops that provide for us. So we're getting this incredible quality food. So surplus food isn't old and manky lettuce, it's fresh, high quality food. Where do we take it? So we take that food to community groups. So when you think of community food programs, there's sort of, I guess, 3 main models that we work with, and obviously the spectrum within that. But think of the community meals. Sacred Heart Mission down at St Kilda, St Mary's House of Welcome in Brunswick Street, Fitzroy. You're doing hundreds of meals every day for the community at either no cost or gold coin donation. You have food parcels. So Salvation Army, St Vincent de Paul, again, numerous not-for-profit agencies providing food to people in need. And the other one, which is coming up a lot more now, is just various food security initiatives. So be it a choir that gets together every week, but they're a homeless choir. And within that, they have a meal. They have this wonderful community meal at the end of their rehearsal. So we'll provide the ingredients to that. Be it a youth program, there's a great program at the Collingwood High Rise Estate run by the Fitzroy Police, which engages the police with community youth at risk, and especially a lot of new arrivals. Young kids, they play soccer. They've got a coach, and there's about 60 kids every Monday, and they have this wonderful game of soccer. And we'll provide these beautiful platters of fresh fruit. So it's, again, giving them some lovely fruit to eat, but it's linking the exercise and nutrition and sort of trying to, I guess, engender some life skills and understanding around how you live a healthy life. As we grow our I guess demand and supply was mentioned earlier. The demand for our service at the moment far outstrips our supply that we have access to. We know there's food waste out there. Of the 700 tonnes last year, that's only about 0.001% of what was wasted in Victoria. So there's still a lot of food that we would love access to. But it comes down to resources and infrastructure. We are a not-for-profit agency. We rely on trusts, foundations and corporate support to fund the work that we do. And from the supply side, we have agencies constantly demanding our service. When they hear that they can access fresh fruit and vegetables and high quality produce for free, they get a bit excited, as you would understand they certainly do. When they're running organisations on, volunteers are doing so much work in the kitchens, they're overworked, certainly underpaid, running on a volunteer staff. If we can provide them with this wonderful produce at no cost to firstly reduce the cost of their program, but secondly really lift the nutritional value of the food they're serving, surely that's a win-win for everyone involved. So as we grow and collect more food, the demand is increasing because people are hearing about our services. And at the moment, certainly demand is outstripping our supply. But we're taking on measures to address that. We're working closely with Melbourne Wholesale Market, with more access to growers and wholesalers at the farm gate or at the distribution centres to access the surplus, to say there's no need for that to end up in the bin. We can take that food for you and deliver it to people who we know are struggling. I think one thing as an organisation, as a small not-for-profit that has grown quite rapidly, we've only been around for 4 years as a staffed organisation, which, I'm spooned already. I've only just started. One thing we like to do as an organisation is again work on what is the value of what we're doing, what is the impact we're having. We know it makes sense, don't throw it out, we can move it, this is desperately needed food. But what is the impact we're having? We just completed a study through RMIT, one of our staff members, on the social and health impact of redistributed fresh food. And the findings are quite phenomenal on the reasons why people are accessing services, but also the importance that when they do access these community food programs, they're getting some decent, healthy food. We have a responsibility as a community to care, and to care for people who are doing it tough, because their numbers are increasing. So hopefully with support as an organisation, we can continue to grow and continue to address this imbalance of surplus and bridge the gap between surplus and need. So thank you. I look forward to questions.